Hey guys, welcome back. I was just I came to this video because I found this very interesting. This video is not scripted, so we're gonna get into it. Hope you enjoy.
The concept of global masculinity used to be a universal blueprint: rugged, hypermuscular, and stoic. But over the last 2 decades, East Asia completely rewrote the rules, trading the classic macho ideal for a soft, hyper-groomed, as well as androgynous look. And this is really a radical shift that wasn't random or a cultural accident. It was the direct result of an absolute economic takeover. While the traditional entertainment market is globally catered to a balanced audience, the East Asian idol industry is powered entirely by what economists call the pink economy, or the collective purchasing power of female consumers. And let's take a look at the hard data. Demographic studies of K-pop album sales, concert attendees, and fan club memberships revealed that women aged between 15 to 34 make up a staggering 85% to 92% of the active purchasing audience. When
Wow.
entertainment giants like SM, JYP, as well as HYBE realized that women held the ultimate veto power over discretionary spending, they stopped engineering male stars to what men found impressive and started packaging them to look like what women actually desired. Through an aggressive market research, these corporations pioneered the idea of flower boy archetypes. Think about K-pop groups such as Super Juniors and later the global superstar BTS. Traditional hyper-masculinity, characterized by physical bulk, facial hair, and emotional distance, was statistically proven to feel too aggressive as well as too unapproachable to young modern Asian female consumers, according to corporate research. By intentionally cultivating an aesthetic of glass skin, slender frames, and high fashion tailored the industry to create a low friction, emotional bond between the idol as well as the consumer. The soft masculine look didn't just win hearts, it unlocked billions. South Korea's entertainment industry transformed the aesthetic into a global economic engine, pushing K-pop to have a $10 billion global market value. Once the entertainment industry normalized this soft look, it triggered an immediate downstream effect on everyday society. The soft look moved out of the concert halls and straight into the corporate boardroom. Because the female gaze became the dominant cultural lens, everyday men were economically and socially incentivized to adopt this look. This gave birth to the most lucrative men's grooming market on this planet. According to international market research,
Huh.
South Koreans spend more per capita on skincare compared to any other country in the world.
Wow. So you're basically telling me most of those guys are. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking care of your skin, like like I do. I take care of my skin. But the thing is like you have to understand the fact that these the main consumerists over there are women, so they have to cater towards the women to make sure everybody's what do you call it, a mutual um, consumption, so that way everybody gets their own way. I mean, it's still interesting, but I mean, there's nothing wrong taking care of yourself. Watch what you do, exercise, skincare, sunscreen. I'm okay with that. But when it becomes too excessive, right now with the peptides epidemic, it gets very, very concerning, especially when it comes to mainstream media, so to speak. But I'll let the gentleman speak here.
Totaling roughly $13 per person, which accounts to more than 20% of the entire global market share for men cosmetics. By comparison, American men spends about $3.40 per capita. And let's take a look at the concrete examples. Walk into any Olive Young, the Korean version of Sephora and Seoul, and you'll find entire aisles dedicated exclusively to everyday men items. The top selling items aren't just shaving cream, they're BB creams, sheet masks, and tinted lip balms. In competitive job markets like Seoul or Tokyo, where resume photos are often mandatory, applying BB cream before an interview is viewed as a basic sign of professional respect and self-discipline. And this
That's crazy. That's so crazy. Like, can you imagine yourself going to your boss's office and have to be like, "Oh, before we do our interview, can I put a little bit of face cream right here so I can be a professional as hell?" It sounds very weird to me. it sounds very uh, like it sounds very odd. Like back then, we the reason why we wear a suit is to look professional, and the reason why we clean our faces to look more presentable to the corporation or someone who's the boss, who sees like, oh, this guy's serious, because it's just part of our way of thinking when it comes to that. But when it comes to like, oh, I need to put a little bit of this in my face to make me look professional, it's kind of like, I think your culture is getting pretty cocked here, buddy. That's what I think.
Aesthetic is completely decoupled from sexual orientation. While heavy cosmetic use on a man is historically tied with the queer culture in America, a straight conventional salaryman in East Asia uses the same products because looking rough is unrefined, and it's even interpreted as a social failure. And here's also another really interesting question. Why
That's
did the
weird.
multi-billion-dollar playbook completely stall when it hit the United States? And why do Americans still stay aggressively muscular? And the answer to this question really comes down to two fundamental pillars of America: the frontier myth, as well as who controls the media gaze. First, American masculinity is historically anchored in the myth of the rugged individual, the cowboys, the pioneers, as well as blue collar workers. American culture deeply
Exactly.
romanticized physical labor and hardship. To look
Hmm.
weathered or scarred is a badge of honor for American manhood. It implies that you have done things, and when a culture's foundational heroes is a frontier man who tamed the wilderness, an aesthetic based on porcelain skin, pastel hair, as well as designer jewelry feels a little bit wrong, especially when we talk
Exactly.
about the mainstream media. Second, and the most important thing, is that the primary engines of American media have traditionally been optimized for the male gaze, and not really the female gaze. And really think about this, the biggest cultural exports from the
But but you gotta understand this. You gotta you want a man. You want a man that went through a lot. You want a man that is serious when it comes to professionalism. You want a man that is actually more been through a lot, and he's qualified to be like a warrior to protect the community. You want people who are very rugged and been through a lot and having scars, like tattoos, muscularity, and I don't give a F mentality. Those are good qualities because let's be real here. If you're gonna be like the soft, like that, they don't last long. They really don't last long. If you think about it in a statistic, do you think these guys are gonna take on a let's say, um, a thug with a knife, or a person with a gun who, or pew pew, my bad. Sorry about that, YouTube. But the thing is like, what happened if these people actually went through these things? You know, do you think these guys are capable of war? You want a man that is actually capable of war, because the thing is, having a man that is capable of war is useful, not just for society but for your community. But I don't understand, like, I understand taking care of yourself, but being rugged is good. And if a culture doesn't value that, then I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, they've been feminized, you know? The girls are going to go for the rugged guys because guess what? Why? Because when things go down, they go to them. They don't go to the soft, pretty boy looking mother effers. They don't. They go for the guys who are hard. Same thing with Latin America. If you go to Latin America and if you do something wrong, you will get punished very severely. And we still have that. I mean, even I still think like that for my father's side. So when it comes down, being a rugged man is more useful than being a soft person. And if you can't be a rugged man, you are a failure. But East Asian cultures are very interesting. I love them. They're very, very nice people, and not just that, intelligent. But these people don't understand the concept of warfare because you want your men to be ready for war. That's it. But I mean, that's all I have to say.
United States over the last 20 years have been Marvel superheroes, and action franchises like John Wick, as well as military video games like Call of Duty. The hyper-muscular 250-pound action hero with a thick beard as well as low vocal register isn't designed to appeal to what women want. Instead, it's a power fantasy designed to appeal to what men want to be. And take a look at the actors behind Thor as well as Wolverine. To prepare for these shirtless scenes, these actors often undergo grueling dehydration protocols for 48 hours to make their muscles look as vascular as well as shredded as possible. And
Hmm.
data from box office tracking these shows have shown that the primary demographic responsible for this multi-billion-dollar industry are almost always men. In fact, men account for nearly 60 to 65% of viewership for opening weekends. And because men are the primary target consumers for America's most expensive media export, the industry keeps supplying hypermuscular dominant archetypes. And there's also a deep psychological barrier in the West regarding the fear of looking too feminine. In American society, masculinity is often defined negatively, meaning that a boy learns to be a man primarily by proving that he's not feminine and also he's not. Because Western culture heavily
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He's not a puta. Seriously. That's what he was trying to say. I agree with that. Even Latin America, like, you're supposed to take it like a man. Like, well, I'll tell you something. I was with an Asian girl before, Japanese. The reason why I was with her, um, I didn't agree with the whole, like, she has control of the money. In my culture, you're supposed to take care of the girl. If you can't take care of a girl, you're a failure. That's just the bottom line. And the thing is like, mm, cultures do really do matter, but you have to be willing to be part of it, you know? I mean, if you're going to go after Asian girls, just remember this. They're going to try to take over your money or your status because that's just the way they think. But however, you have to understand the fact that if you disagree with that, then you should not be with an Asian girl, you know? I mean, you should be with a woman that is more like, I mean, they expect you to do everything. And I agree with that. Like, I come from a culture that is more like that than letting the girl be the master of where the money goes. That's not your job. Your job is supposed to, and I hate to say it, and I might get a little bit of hatred, but you're supposed to take care of the house, take care of the family, not some stupid controlling the money. That's your man's job. That's a man's job, you know? And that's the thing a lot of people don't understand, especially Americans. We're starting to becoming like the Asians, unfortunately. It's really sad, especially the new generation. The new generation don't want to be rugged. They don't want to have muscles. And it's kind of pathetic. It really is kind of pathetic because if you have a lot of feminist men, are these men are capable to go to war? No. That's just the bottom line. Anyhow, let's continue the video.
links a man's aesthetic directly to his sexuality, any mainstream adoption of makeup, soft clothing, and delicate grooming by straight men has historically been met with intense social backlash. And these men who do use these things experience pure rejection. In sharp contrast, East Asian culture possesses a completely different historical blueprint for high social status. For thousands of years across China, Korea, and Japan, the apex of social hierarchy was occupied not by the warrior but by the scholar, the refined, elegant, highly educated man who wore silk robes and practiced calligraphy. Physical bulk, as well as a weathered appearance, was historically tied with the peasant as well as the manual laborers. Refinement, soft features, and a sheltered appearance were the ultimate indicators of wealth as well as ruling class prestige. Therefore, when the modern idol industry introduced the flower boy, It didn't trigger a mass existential crisis about sexuality or weakness. The culture already had a deeply historical root that associated aesthetic refinement with power and prestige. In the United States, if an everyday man spends about 2 hours on his look, for example, hair, skincare, and wardrobe, his male peers will often look at him with confusion. But in Korea or Japan, his peers will simply think that he is highly disciplined, as well as a professional trying to move up the corporate ladder, getting a promotion, or attract a high status partner. But
That's so weird, man. It's just so weird. I mean, this is why in my last previous videos I talk about this. Like, American men are becoming like Japan and South Korean men. Why? Because of the, what do you call it, the look maxing community is involved. That's just an example. Or the people who put peptides because they're afraid of aging. Aging is part of life, man. We're all gonna die. But the question is, what are you gonna do about it? And that's the $1 million question: is what are you gonna do about it? Because the only person who really could take you down is time, and time is very patient. It will consume you from the inside out. That's just the way it is. That's just part of life. But no, when we have these type of people or cultures who amplify that, oh, you have to take care of yourself because of this, and this. It's just, it's kind of, it's. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of gay. It is kind of gay, but that's just my opinion.
here's a twist. As we move through 2026, the boundaries that protect the Western male is fundamentally collapsing. The soft hypergroom East Asian aesthetic is no longer confined to Seoul or Tokyo. It is actively taking over the world and going mainstream. And the world's most powerful luxury brands are driving the ship. And let's take a look at the front rows of the Paris as well as Milan Fashion Week. The traditional rugged Hollywood leading men have been systematically replaced as a global face of luxury heritage around the world. European luxury giants have realized that the flower-boy gaze commands unparalleled global capital. For example, Jin of BTS was appointed the global ambassador for Gucci, and other stars like Jungkook signed as the global brand ambassador for Chanel Fragrance and Beauty. And Felix of the Stray Kids are fronting global campaigns for Louis Vuitton, Cartier, as well as other brands. And this aesthetic transition is showing up directly in Western economic data. The global male grooming market is projected to reach an astronomical $65 to $79 billion in 2026, with skincare and cosmetic segments leading the charge at 35% of market share. The Western consumer is changing. Gen Z as well as millennial men in Europe as well as North America are actively abandoning the old look. And we're talking about the low maintenance,
Stupid.
rugged mandate of the West. Instead, walk into a Sephora in New York or London today, and you'll see a lot more Western men buying tinted moisturizers, concealer sticks, and hyaluronic acid serum.
Uh, I don't know, man. You gotta ask yourself this: Are these people are willing to protect your kids or your community? You know, in Hispanic culture, we're supposed to be rugged. In Spanish, we call it ritado. Ritado is a term saying rugged. So it's important to be super rugged because guess who could take your family? Your cartels or Mariara Sabasichuchas or any other gang members in Latin America, or even the government could kidnap your kids. So you have to be rugged because that's why if you ever go to Latin America, I'm starting to see that too a little bit in Colombia. I mean, Panama is still doing okay. El Salvador is still doing okay, but I know Mexico is getting into this a lot. Uh, Guatemala too, because of the influence of the media of the United States of America. Oh, Argentina too. Argentina men are getting into this too, and Puerto Ricans. But the thing is like we still, if you ever go to like any of the Latin American countries, we still have that rugged archetype. Like come dices in español? Vaqueora, vaqueneo, yeah. So like cowboy look, you know, more like the typical Hispano cowboy, you know. So I don't think it will ever get to Latin America that much. But on the flip side, with America, I'm seeing it a lot, and it's kind of odd because these guys don't have a backbone. And I always bring this up because there are boys who do not want to put muscle in their body. That's how useless they are. And you just gotta ask yourself this question: like, are we heading in the right direction or not? Let's continue.
And social media apps like TikTok has also made concepts like the glass skin especially popular. And this basically normalizes makeup under the guise of subtle grooming. The male power fantasy of physical dominance is really losing ground in the new global frontier. Instead, youth, refinement, as well as flawless presentation is rising up. As we look at the global landscape, the definition of what makes a man attractive is no longer the same. East Asia proves that when you empower the female consumer and optimize media for the female gaze, masculinity naturally shreds. Instead, you're trading the rugged, aggressive edges in favor of a more elegant, profitable softness. America's long-standing resistance wasn't a sign that it was stuck in the past. It was proof of how deeply its natural identities remain tied to the myth of physical power. But economic gravity always tends to win in the end. Ultimately, men didn't want to turn feminine in Asia. They adapted to a highly sophisticated consumer market that actively rewards aesthetic over aggression. And now, as the global media landscape shifts, the West is picking up high end clothing, a skincare routine, and even makeup. Thank you guys so much for watching this video.
So, I mean, I watched this. This is my first time watching this video. I decided to record it because of the title. But no, let's be real here. Let's ask you guys a specific question in this situation. Who cares about the women's perspective and their gazes? Because when things do go down, when I mean a catastrophe, whether it's like a Great Depression or a zombie apocalypse or what else? Or a world war or civil war or whatever, a revolution. I don't know. A catastrophe that could actually wipe us out. And not just that. Let's say a blackout, an international blackout. Do you think these people are going to be capable of surviving? No. No. They won't. They will die. Because because in reality, if you put these people into pressure, they won't survive. They're too focusing on their look. There was an article I read, and well, it was actually a video. It was something in I forget. It's called Undead Theory, and I was watching it, and there was a wildfire, right? And during this wildfire, the guy was trying to get everybody out of the car. This girl, I shit you not, this girl decided to focus on her makeup and her beauty when there's a wildfire going on. And guess what happened to her? She she'd been deceased. And the guy who was trying to help her after the fire came to that location again and film it, and the whole car was destroyed. And I'm saying these things because you have to understand the fact that you have to be rugged and willing to have that aggression. You have to be the old generation type. Why? Because your survival depends on it. And people who don't understand that will will not be ready for a catastrophe like that I just mentioned earlier. And the thing is that this media and this consumerism where girls are becoming more interested in soft, weak, pathetic boys. It's it's gonna just backfire them. So what I'm trying to say is it's important to be more backbone rugged, not giving an F, willing to take on someone who wants to threaten your family. We need to have that energy. Why? Because that's true masculinity, you know. And I again, I didn't purposely make this video. I just found this video interesting, but I didn't watch it. This is my first time watching it, and I'm just like, this is my point. If you go back to my other videos, I talked about we will become like Japan and South Korea. We are gonna become like them, and I don't hate. I hate it, man. I hate it because in Hispanic cultures we don't put up with this stuff. The only cultures that can still stay rugged and keep that masculine archetype for warfare or protecting your community or what is it, survival mode, for example, will be those countries like Latin America, Eastern Europe, possibly Russia. I mean, yeah, man. You don't see it's kind of weird when I see these things. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking care of your skin. I'm not saying you shouldn't take care of your skin. You should take care of your skin. For instance, like you should go and put sunscreen when it's sunny. That's okay. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to like over obsessiveness and fixated on staying young forever, you're in la la land. We all age. We all get old. We all die, unfortunately. So what are you going to do about it? Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do about it. You're going to use your time wisely. You're going to make everything count, and you're going to be one step ahead of everyone. And if you don't understand that, then we have a problem. And this is the point where I'm going to come in is you need to have that. If you don't, you're a failure. That's all I got to say. Anywho, if you like the video, please hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.